Hello students, welcome to EPG Pathshala. I am Dr. Anubhuti Yadav from Indian Institute of Mass Communication. Today we are going to talk on modules, theories and models of media and information literacy under paper Media and Information Literacy. After completing this module, you should be able to 1. Understand different theories of media and information literacy, and to develop the understanding of 3 orientation of media literacy, which is protecting, promoting and participatory. To understand and reflect on the different models of media and information literacy. So when we are talking about models, we'll be discussing about 5 models. The first one is the message interpretation model. Second one is EEE model, which means explore, engage, empower. Then media literacy model, which was given by Potter. And we'll also talk about Mahatma Gandhi's nonviolent communication as a model of media literacy to counter effects of media violence. And the last one would be the UNESCO model of information literacy. Now, exploring theoretical foundation for media and information literacy. If we talk about MIL is not, when we're talking about, the theories of, MIL, we cannot say that, this one theory actually belongs to media and information literacy. Media and information literacy is interdisciplinary, and it draws theories from the fields like education and literacy, learning, sociology, anthropology, film studies and linguistics. Now, if you look at the John Dewey's theory of education, that emphasizes on interaction, reflection and experience, and also Paulo Freire's insight on dialogic education and developing consciousness. Both of these theories, though they are from the field of education, it has shaped the contemporary discussion on media education. So that's how the different theories actually contributed from the different areas, from the different disciplines, actually contributed to MIL. So these are the 2 theories from the field of education, and also from the field of communication also. There are a lot of theories which can be fit into the communication theories, which was given by number of communication scholars. And now we are going to talk about these communication theories wherein MIL as a concept can fit into. And communication theories where media literacy have been fitted are the stimulus response model, the uses and gratification model and the cultivation theory. Now, if we talk about all these models of communication and wherein media and information literacy can also fit in, we'll first talk about the stimulus response model. And this stimulus response model actually stems out from the work of early communication theorists who underlined the power of mass media and passive audience. These theorists delved on how the effects of media were direct, and this approach was used in early media education. So when we are talking about the stimulus response model, so this actually says that the moment there is a stimulus or the moment there is a media message, the target audience, they respond to that particular message, and it says that the effect of media messages is very, very high. It's very direct, and the people take media messages as it is. So this is what the media response model, and this was by the early communication theorist who actually gave this model, because that was the time when the media just came in and the people felt that the media has huge potential. It has a lot of power and it can impact people in a very big way. Second theory is the uses and gratification model. Now, when we talk about the uses and gratification model, the user of media are in a position to identify their own interest and motivation to use the media. This model forms the basis of media literacy education initiatives, which focuses on developing critical capacities to discern media messages. So which means that the users, the audience, they know what their needs and requirements are, and on the basis of their needs and requirements, they watch certain kind of program, or they might not watch media at all, or they might not access media at all. So which means that when we are talking about this theory, this talks about the audience who are very critical. They know what their requirements are, they know what their needs are, and to gratify those requirements and to gratify those needs, they actually look up to certain programs, or and it could be informative program, it could be entertainment program. So it depends upon their needs and requirements. And the third one is the cultivation theory. Now when we talk about the cultivation theory, this was proposed by George Gubner, and according to this theory, if when there are repetitive lessons, people learn from television or other media, and they are likely to become the basis for their broader worldview. For example, if people are watching a lot of violent programs, or maybe when we talk about children, if they are playing a lot of violent games, then they actually form this view of the world that the world is a place where there's a lot of violence is happening. And according to Gubner, the stories the media tell now virtually around the clock and through multiple channels of communication weave seamless web of the cultural environment that cultivates most of what we think, what we do, how we do, and how we conduct our affairs. So which means that the media has a very important role to play, the way we look at the world, the way we look at the society. And the moment we start consuming these messages over a longer period of time, we tend to believe that yes, this is how the things are happening in the world, and this is how the things are happening in the society. Now, the central unifying concept of media education is that of representation, and this is something which was given by Masterman, and the representation is something which is very, very important. And according to him, the media mediate, and they say that they do not reflect but represent the world, and the media, that is, are symbolic sign systems that must be decoded, and without this principle no media education is possible. So here what we are talking about, the representation, so it's not just the reflection of what's happening in the society, but they represent the world, and since they are representing the world, we should be in a position to decode those particular messages if we really want to be media and information literate. So now let's talk about three orientations of media literacy. The first one is the protectionist orientation, the second one was the promotion, and the third one is the participatory. So let's talk about the protectionist orientation. Now the goal of this orientation is to offer protection to the vulnerable groups like children against the negative effect of the media. It actively talks about the need to have policies and regulation vis-a-vis media. It also talks on the need to develop surveillance system to act as a media watchdog. And this orientation gave rise to the inoculation approach to media education. So the protectionist orientation is basically for the vulnerable groups, and it is basically talking about protecting the target audience against the negative impact of media. And this negative impact could be when we are talking about the violence, it could be cyber crimes, and there could be number of such negative effects of the media. And the idea is basically how to protect the vulnerable group against such impact. So the protectionist orientation is discussed and debated, especially in the context of media violence, pornography, sexuality, racism, xenophobia, and other aspects which are deemed to promote negative influence on citizenry. Now, if you look at the projects which were taken world over in the field of media and information literacy, initially most of the projects started with this premise, which means they started with the protectionist orientation. They started in the schools, in the colleges, because they really wanted to protect children, they wanted to protect teenagers, adolescents, young adults against the negative impact of media violence. Now, when you're talking about this protectionist orientation, in one way what you are saying is that the media has a lot of power, the impact of media is direct, and when we are talking about target audience, we are considering them as a passive viewers. We are saying that they don't have that capacity to judge what they're watching, and that's why we need to bring in this protectionist orientation, and we have to save them and protect them against the negative impact of media. The second orientation of media literacy is promotion orientation of media literacy. This orientation aims at promotion and encouragement of different activities and initiatives which can stimulate greater awareness of the media universe and citizen empowerment. This approach focuses on the empowerment of the citizens and how they can use the media in the contemporary society. It stresses on how citizens can constructively use the media and their relationship with it, either through intellectual creativity or communication relations. The empowerment model or the promotion orientation moves through the phases of engagement, finding and using information, analyzing and evaluating it, then communicating ideas and taking social action. It offers a systematic framework to help educators to develop children's knowledge and understanding about current events, news and journalism. So this is what this approach talks about, which means that children have to be actively engaged with the media content. They should be in a position to find and use information. They should be able to analyze and evaluate it, and then whatever messages they form, they should be in a position to communicate their ideas or, if required, take any social action. So this is what promotional orientation of media literacy is. Now the third orientation is participatory orientation of media literacy. Participatory orientation stresses on the spread of social production and communication for the development of knowledge, interactivity and dialogue. It regards the sphere of communication and its products as the legacy of all humanity and therefore as open and free. So this is what the participatory orientation talks about. In participatory orientation, the focus is mainly on how people can create messages, how people can construct messages. So this is not something which can be done only by few people or media conglomerates. Even individuals, they can create messages, they can share those messages. So if you look at this model, this also talks about the same thing. So if you are talking about the engaged citizens, so the core media literacy competencies for the engaged citizens are: one, the participatory competency, second is collaboratory competency, third is expressive competency, and the fourth one is the critical competencies. So once they have these competencies, we can say they are the engaged citizens, and once they have these competencies, they are in a position to create messages, they are in the position to communicate messages, and this creation of messages and the communication of messages can be the agent for social change, and this is how they can participate in the civic sphere, in the public sphere. So this is what the participatory orientation of media literacy is, and in fact if we have to look at the example of this, Wikipedia is one very important example of this participatory orientation of media literacy, which means that using that as a platform, even people are creating knowledge, they are developing knowledge. So if you go to Wikipedia page or Wikinews, any of the wiki platform, even the individuals are in a position to participate in the whole process of the creation of knowledge. Now let us talk about models of media and information literacy. The first model is message interpretation process model. This message interpretation model proposes that individuals, applying logic to their analysis of media messages, make logical comparisons between their personal experiences and what they see in media. by encouraging a more systematic approach to decision making based on a thoughtful consideration of available information and evidence. A logical comparison process should provide balance to the effective route, which requires less mental effort. So the idea is to make a comparison between your own experiences, your own personal experiences, and what you see on media. For example, when we are talking about the models, or when we are talking about the beauty products, most of the time, when we are talking about these adolescents, they are in awe with, the models which they see on television in different advertisements. So somewhere you need to, interpret those messages, and somewhere you need to make the comparison between, your own personal experiences and, what you exactly see in media. So if you talk about the personal experiences, it could be an experience like meeting any model in person. So when you look at the model, you would know that, okay, what you see on screen was totally different, because, there was a lot of things which were involved in there was editing involved in this. Or if you have seen a picture of a model, you would know that, there were a lot of techniques which were involved in to make, that particular photograph much more beautiful than that person in real life is. So this may help children and adolescents to resist, for example, the image-based and effect-laden appeals used by many advertisers to gain customers. Now we are going to talk about Triple E model of media and information literacy. Now the Triple E stands for explore, engage, and empower. This model tries to provide a journal process framework for understanding and practicing media and information literacies. Competencies in media and information literacy can be grouped in three major practical applications. One is explore, second is engage, and the third one is empower. So now let's talk about, all these, competencies in detail. So when we are saying explore, they should be, in a position to explore, so that they are able to identify, access, and retrieve information and media content skillfully. So if you are, surfing net, or if you are searching for, information on web, or if you are searching information in a library, or if you are searching information in any of the archives, so you should be in a position to retrieve that information, access that information skillfully. To engage means to analyze and evaluate media and information critically. And the third one is to empower, is to create or produce, share or communicate, and use information and media content ethically, safely, and responsibility for decision making and taking action. So when we are talking about empowerment, we are talking about the empowerment of the people who are in a position to create messages, and they should have those skill, one, to create and produce messages, and this skill could be ICT skills, digital skills, so that they are in a position to construct any of the media messages. And also they should be aware of the different platforms wherein they can share or communicate their ideas, and also whatever the information and media content which has been developed, they should be in a position to share that particular content ethically, safely, and responsibly. Now this is the media literacy model, and this model is given by Porter. The model is based on 4 factors. At the foundation is the factor of knowledge structures, and this is what we're just going to talk about, what those knowledge structures are. And then comes the combination of knowledge structure, and this feeds information into the second factor, which is the personal locus. This is where the decision about information processing are motivated. So like once you have knowledge, for example, when we are talking about knowledge structure, it's the knowledge about the media content, it is the knowledge about how media messages are produced. So once you have that particular knowledge, I mean, this is something which can help you in information processes. Then the third factor is the person's sets of competencies and skills, which are information processing tools. And the fourth factor is the flow of information processing tasks. The 4 factors work together interactively in a system. So it's not like in isolation. So all these 4 factors, they work together interactively in a system. Now let's talk about this media literacy model, and we've talked about, it is based on, those 5 knowledge structures just now. So the foundation to develop media literacy skills are these 5 knowledge structures, and what these 5 knowledge structures are: media effects, media content, media industries, the real world, and the self. Now this is the kind of knowledge people should have, and obviously, like, this is the foundation of this particular model. And when we are talking about these knowledge structure, so they need to know that media has that impact, it affects people. We also know that the media content is actually created by someone, it is constructed by someone. So while someone is constructing or created that particular content, there is an agenda behind this. The agenda could be selling one particular product or service, or it could be selling one particular idea. So we need to know about media content and how those media content are produced. Then the media industries, this is also very important. For example, when you're talking about media industry, the most important thing in media industry is the ownership pattern. Who owns one particular medium? So is that particular medium, or if we are talking about a newspaper, if this newspaper is owned by a corporate house, or this newspaper is owned by one particular party, or if it is if this newspaper is owned by one particular politician, because or if it is owned by some NGO. So the content which you see in that particular medium will depend upon the ownership pattern of that particular media. Or if not the entire content, the slants which are given to different stories depend upon the content of or the ownership pattern of that particular medium. And then you need to know the real world. You should have that information of the real world in which we live, how the relationships are formed, the way people interact with each other, the way people live, the way they eat, the way they would like to dress up, and also your knowledge of self. So these are the 5 knowledge structures which we need to understand. And the skills most relevant to media literacy are analysis, evaluation, grouping, induction, deduction, synthesis, and abstraction. And this is what the media literacy model says. Now, attributes of media literate people are: citizens are able to see much more in a given message. They are more aware of the level of meanings. This enhances understanding. They are more in charge of the process of meaning making and selection. So which means that you need to see more in a given message. If it is an advertisement, one need to ask, who created this advertisement? What is the purpose behind this advertisement? What are they trying to sell? Whom are they trying to sell that one particular product or service or idea to? What have they omitted from that particular advertisement, right? What could be the impact of that omission? What is something they should have included in that particular advertisement? What is something which you feel that is objectionable in that particular advertisement? Or a news message. So, you have to find out, the different meanings in that particular message. You have to be aware of, different levels of meaning when you consume that information. So, when you read a news story, it should not be just, reading and passively receiving whatever is being written in that particular newspaper. When you see an advertisement, it should not be passively receiving and saying that, okay, whatever these people are saying is absolutely right. Media literate people actually question. They question the media content, and this is what the most important attribute of a media literate people or an individual. Now let's talk about Mahatma Gandhi's non-violent communication as a model of media literacy to counter effects of media violence. Now when we look at television programs, or when we look at the newspapers in the morning, or if we look at the video games which are there nowadays, we see that there is a lot of violent content which is there in all these media formats, or in all these mediums, and somewhere we need to find out a way of communication which can counter these effects of media violence, and Mahatma Gandhi's non-violent communication as a model actually offers a way through which we can counter this effect of media violence. Now, according to this particular theory, we need to promote the powerful model of Mahatma Gandhi's non-violent communication, and by developing critical understanding and imbibing the strategy of non-violent communication, we can encourage young people to resolve conflicts through peaceful means. So if you see a lot of violent programs on television, and to resolve number of conflicts, many a times the violence is resorted to. So this is what we can say, and this is what we can depict, that if we resort to any peaceful means, even then we can resolve number of conflicts. And then linking media and information literacy education to non-violent communication can contribute to a culture of peace and non-violence. Mahatma Gandhi's non-violent communication theory consists of 4 theoretical units. First one is non-violent speech in action. Second is maintenance of relationships and enrichment of personhood. Third is openness, and the fourth one is flexibility. Now let us talk about UNESCO's conceptual model of MIL. This model recognizes the importance of all forms of media, and which includes community media, and of all other information providers like libraries, archives, museums, publishers, and those on the internet. So it's not just the mainstream media like which we know as television, newspaper, magazines, but it includes everything, community media, folk media, and other information providers like libraries, archives, museum also. The center circle represent the information resources and the means by which information is communicated, and the media as an institution. And the second circle from the center of this model looks at the reason on why people use information and engage with media and other information providers like entertainment, association, identification, surveillance, enlightenment, reason for which people are using all these medium. The third circle from the center of this model refers to the basic knowledge that all citizens should have about the operations, functions, nature, established professionals, and ethical standards of all forms of media and other information providers. The final circle in this model talks about the process and practice. It tries to communicate different steps that should be taken or competencies citizens should possess to effectively create and use information and media content ethically, as well as engaging with media and other information providers in their social, economic, political, cultural, and personal lives. So students, let's now summarize what we have learnt in this module. As we have discussed earlier, there is no single theory of media literacy or media information literacy, and it draws its theoretical foundations from an interdisciplinary approach. It draws theories from the field of education, it draws theories from the field of communication. The participatory orientation is emerging as an important theoretical foundation of media literacy, and its underpinning ideas are critical and liberal, tolerant and respectful of diversity, democratizing and defending of equality. So out of all the models which we have seen, which includes protectionist, promotional and participatory. Now the participatory is something which is emerging as very important, because when you are talking about participatory, you are talking about community, you are talking about the collectivizing people to create knowledge, you are talking about people participating in public discourses, people participating in public sphere. So its foundation is also rooted on the idea that media literacy enables citizens to take part in public sphere, make rational decisions and can contribute to social causes. While there are several models of media literacy, Mahatma Gandhi's model of non-violent communication is a significant approach to prepare students to resolve conflicts through non-violent means and minimize the effects of media violence. Thank you.